Aloha everyone, my name is Geneva Robello, and this is my project for Botany 450 for the spring 2020 semester. So for my project, I made an endemic Hawaiian plants field guide. It's basically for ages 10 and up because there's a lot of pictures that I drew and there's simplified nomenclature, and it basically gives certain facts about endemic Hawaiian plants and where to find them and all that kind of information. So next we'll be talking about what's going to be covered in this book. The first plant that we're going to talk about is Ohia lehua. The second is going to be Acacia. Third is Koa. Fourth is Hapu'u. Fifth is Ma'ohauhele. The next plant is going to be Mamaki. And the last plant that we're going to cover today is Hina Hina. So looking at these pictures that I drew, I tried to make it where you can see the plants and where they kind of belong in the landscape. For example, the silver swords will be up here. The tree ferns will be somewhere in a wet forest. Would be a large ohia forest or a koa forest. And here would be like a kia on the shoreline. And yeah. So what it says here to remind all the readers is that all of these plants are endemic to Hawaii. And I put the definition there for those who do not know what endemic means. It is found only in a certain place. So Hawaii is unique to have all these plants because they are found nowhere else. So the first plant that I am covering is Ohia lehua. So I'll read this here. Ohia and Lehua were lovers, but the volcano goddess Pele fell in love with Ohia, but he turned her down. Out of anger, Pele turned Ohia into a tree, leaving Lehua heartbroken. Out of pity, the gods turned her into a flower of the Ohia tree. There is a saying, if you pluck an Ohia flower and separate the two lovers, the sky will fill with rain. So that's some Hawaiian history of the plant. So what do scientists call it? It's called Metrosideros polymorpha. Metrosideros is Greek for ironwood. It's also in the Myrtaceae family, which also has guava, eucalyptus, and allspice, which all smell really good. So next, polymorpha, it means it has many forms. It can be a tree or a shrub. It can even have red or yellow flowers. And somewhat in between, it could have orange, pink. There's so many varieties. Here's a picture kind of showcasing what it would look like. That's like a tree on the left and a shrub on the right, all different colored flowers. So where do you find Ohia lehua? Since there are so many forms, they are found in many habitats. They are in wet and dry forests on many elevations. They can even be found on rocky new lava flows. So here are some pictures of what habitat you'll find them in. The first picture would be a dry forest, and this would be a wet forest. This would be a new lava flow, and this would be a high elevation area. The next plant that we'll be covering is Acacia. I'll read this here. The crushed bark, roots, and leaves were used to make fish drunk, making them easier to catch. It can be poisonous. In 1840, Chief Kamanawa II was guilty of murdering for hiring someone to spike his jealous wife's ava with Acacia. So what do scientists call it? They call it Wickstromia uva-ursi. Wickstromia refers to the chemical wickstroliide, commonly found in the family Thymelaceae. Uva-ursi translates to bear's grape. since it has berries that are popular with bears, at least in this family. It's a popular landscaping shrub, but beware to plant it near children or pets. It can be poisonous to them. They can be found in a number of dry habitats, coastal regions, ridges, hillsides, ledges, and lava. So they prefer dry habitats. The third plant would be koa. It was the most valuable tree in Hawaii and one of the most expensive hardwoods today. Hawaiians used it to build homes, which are known as hale, spears, tools, paddles, which are known as hoa, and surfboards. Most importantly, it was used to make canoe, which is known as wa'a. Koa is also known as acacia koa. Acacia is derived from the Greek word Acacia, meaning sharp point, and koa does have thorns on the stems. Koa translates in Hawaiian to brave, bold, and fearless. Looking at this picture, you can see that koa has two different leaf types based off maturity. It can be found in dry, wet forests, usually high elevation on most of the main Hawaiian islands. It is now more rare to find. It can grow up to 100 feet tall, but it's really rare to find these trees anymore because they have been cultivated so much. The fourth plant that I'll be covering is hapu'u, which are found in wet forests. It's also known as the Hawaiian tree fern. 4 out of 9 species of this tree fern are only found in Hawaii. Hawaiians would eat the trunks and uncoiled fronds, usually during events of famine. They will cook it in an imu, and there's a saying, he hapu'u ka'ai he ai make. If the hapu'u is the food, it is the food of death. Scientists call it Kibotium glaucum, which is one of the species that is most common. Kibotium translates from Greek into kibotion, meaning box of casket. It refers to the parts of the fern that cover the spores. Glaucum means bluish, green, or gray underneath the fronds. Glaucum can also translate to glaucoma. The fifth plant that I will be covering is Ma'ohauhele, which is also known as the yellow hibiscus or Hawaii state flower. The Hawaiians used it for ornamental reasons as a shrub. Ma'ohauhele translates to green traveling how, referring to the flowers turning green when dry. Scientists refer to it as Hibiscus brackenridgei. It's derived from the Greek word hibiscos, meaning mallow, and it's a part of the mallow family, which is Malvaceae. Brackenridgei came from the name William Dunlop Brackenridge, a horticulturalist. It's usually a shrub and can even reach heights as a short tree. So where can I find it? They are very rare to come across, but are found in dry forests and shrublands. There are hundreds of species of hibiscus, but only 5 are endemic to the Hawaiian Islands. It is thought to have come from Asia. So looking at that photo above, there's holes in the leaves, and that's because it's prone to pests such as mealybugs and ants. It's a very rare to come by, and because they're so susceptible to pests. But it's still our state flowers. So the next chapter is Mamaki. It's popular today to be used as tea. It's been used to treat stomach, colon, bladder, liver, and bowel issues. The Hawaiians used it to make kapa, or also known as cloth, for clothing. They also used it medicinally. Its scientific name is Pipteris albidus. Pipteris comes from the Greek word pipto, which means fall. Aura means tail, I think, which really refers to the flowers. It looks like a puffball. Albidus is Latin for white, and that also refers to the flowers, which are white. It can be used as an understory shrub found in wet forests, and it does require moderate water, so it doesn't really tolerate dry environments. The next plant is Hina Hina, which is also the final plant that will be covered. It's known as Hawaii silver sword. It is endangered. Since there are only 2 species that are found on the high elevations of Haleakala on Maui and Mauna Kea on Hawaii Island. They are very particular of their cooler habitat and sensitive to climate change. It will be difficult to have this in your backyard. They can live from 20 to 90 years, only flowering once. So it's very interesting how they can only be adapted to one environment and can't leave it. And that concludes my book. You can take a look at all the literature I used for a few seconds. And mahalo for your time. I hope you enjoyed this book, and hopefully it gets to my targeted audience and they learn something new about Hawaii's endemic plants. So thank you.